I'm sorry, what was that again?
Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Albert.
All right, guys, we got a good one for y'all today. Brand new pistol just dropped. This may be the first or second batch that it rolled out. I haven't seen any online other than the ones from the Sig Next event. Had it on back order. I thought it was coming in another month or two, but I got notification that it was coming today. Went to pick it up, and then we're gonna take this to the range, maybe outdoor range, and to really run it and test it out for the review. Really run it because I'm excited for it. As you guys, if you follow the channel, I've kind of recently been going through some changes in my competition gun. I've been running the SXG for the last, I don't know, 7-8 months. Then I kind of went with that that other brand or whatever that wasn't working. And then I went ahead and grabbed the Bull Armory Blaze and the Atlas Athena. Had this on back order just in case. They started banning the P320s. So my SXGs kind of can't really use it, but I'm gonna replace that Sig with another Sig. And we are talking about the new Sig P211 GTO. Let's see what comes in the box. I'm excited for this one. Let's go ahead and get everything out and we can kind of talk about it. Comes with 3 mags. Of course, the pistol itself. Nice looking thing. And then let's see what else is in the box so we can get it out of the way. You get your lock, another recoil spring here. Different poundage, it's not labeled, but we'll test that out. Looks like they give you a small little tool, maybe to punch out the what you call it, slide catch, and then some fiber optic, and then some other little what is this, how to replace your fiber optic go-to from Dawson Precision. So and then some installation info for the optics, and then their test shots, I guess, from somewhere, something like that. There you go. Group size was 0.35 inch, number of 3 shots. So it looks like they simulated on here like a report or whatever the case on 724, and it is 8.8. So brand new pistol off the shelf. Let's go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way. All right, let's go ahead and get this little tag off of here. As you can see, not been fired, brand new, straight from the transfer pickup. Let's get this off. I'm excited for this, man. You know, I just started getting into those 2011s, so I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, the number one reason why I'm excited is I get to still use all my P320 mags, apparently. So we're gonna see what kind of compatibility issues we're gonna have with this Magwell, or what's gonna go on there. But man, at first glance, this is a nice looking pistol. Again, we're talking about the Sig P211 GTO. They're brand new in first 2011. And let's go ahead and get this off or out. Make sure that we are clear. We can see that. Feels nice in the hand, not super heavy. And let's go ahead and just talk about that weight. It's 36.9 ounces. And man, at a first glance, it just looks super nice. It looks completely different than anything they've made, even with their serrations and everything. But again, at first glance, this thing looks amazing, and it feels nice in the hand, real natural. So I do like that. But let's go ahead and start at the top. It does come with the 4.4 inch bull barrel and their mock 3D printed compensator here. It's got it's like 3 ports. It's got 2 kind of angled here on the side pointing up, not necessarily to the side, and then this massive one here in the front. So that is on the built bull barrel itself. So it is separate, it's not together. It looks like it's set on by the set screw. And let's just go ahead and talk about that. So they mentioned during all the promotions when they dropped this at the Sig Next event about 2-3 months ago, that I heard Max Michel say this is if you're running this in competition, you're in open with the compensator, right? But he said it was going to have a sight block, so if you wanted for limited optics, you can take this off. It looks like the set screw here, maybe something else over here, and then pop the sight block where it's just a solid block, versus the compensator to stay in limited optics. So when they were telling me that they actually had this to ship, I mentioned if this was going to come with it, the side block or not. They're saying that it was not going to come with the pistol at the time because they were not even available. So they would be available later on. They didn't give me a time frame of when they were going to be available, that I'd have to pick that up separately. So that is the one bummer right out of the gate. Of course, definitely going to put some rounds in this, see how it feels, see how the gun reacts, see if I like it. And just continuing with the slide, fiber optic front, black serrated back, which we'll zoom in here. But the first thing I notice is these serrations in the front and the back are extremely deep. Like, you can just feel them so easy to just grip, and what a smooth rack. Like, I don't even feel any hiccup. Maybe right there a little bit. Maybe that's sliding on something there just a little bit, but you add a little bit of pressure and I don't feel any major hiccup, front or back. These serrations are awesome. Like, I think so far this is the best slide that Sig has put out. Almost reminding me of a Canic with those deep serrations that you really get into it. Man, just what a, like, I'm barely putting any pressure on that. That is nice. Safety on, we'll talk about that trigger later. This is the optics ready, so it is what they're calling now their Sig Lock Pro footprint. I believe it's a modified Delta Point Pro, which I think they've always had. I think now they're just putting a name on it. I'll double check on that, but I do believe it's still Delta Point Pro that'll fit. Just some like extra lugs or whatever that it comes with that maybe hold that the optic down better. So once I get this cover plate off, I'll be able to take a look at that. And then their sights are black serrated sights with the fiber optic front. There you go, you can see that right there. So you can pick that up really easy. Real tall back sights there. But of course, I'm using this for competition, so I'm gonna get an optic on this ASAP and start trying to run it. But easy to pick up that fiber optic, especially during the day, you guys know that. And then before we move on, like a dodo, I forgot to talk about the external extractor, which to me I think is a huge plus. If you're familiar with 2011s, which I'm just now scratching the surface, starting to hear a lot that there's always going to be a lot of fine tuning to these internal extractors and all that. So to find out that this version here, the Sig P211, is going to have that external extractor, kind of like most striker fire pistols, to me I think was going to make it a little bit easier to maintain as far as the extractor goes. And I think the Kimber 2K2, is it called 2K2? That new 2011 they drop also has the external extractor. Let's go ahead and get down to the bottom. It is a steel frame with aluminum grips. And of course, you have this nice big beaver tail, right? These double stack 1911s, 2011s, they always have that nice beaver tail back here to get underneath it. Really, man, it just feels real nice in the hand. Hogue G10 grips. I'm not gonna lie, they're not super grippy. Like, I can feel it in my hand, but they don't feel very aggressive. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be an issue, if it's gonna be too slick. But I do like how the pattern kind of changes up here with where maybe your support comes up here. I do feel that bite a little bit down better here than this. I would thought this was gonna be as grippy as my my lock grips on the SXG that come factory with that, so it's not as grippy as that. I would say this is like between a medium to a soft grip as far as how scratchy you feel it. This I feel a little bit more than this, so it's two different patterns there. And then you also get the checkering here in the front for your front arm, and then some in the back, which with your grip safety 2011s, right, it kind of gets in the way a little bit, but I can still feel it. And then you get almost like a very slight double undercut here, one for your strong hand and very, very little for your support hand. But you have the texturing down there, which is good to kind of help get you that little bit more contact there, a little more scratchiness there. Nothing on here for as far as a like gas pedal or indexing point. It's pretty smooth. I'm not a big gas pedal fan. If I had gas pedals, they're kind of more lower forward angled, so I'm not sure if that's gonna be anything I'm gonna need to add later on. You get a full dust cover here, 3-slot Picatinny rail, and what I really like is that these Hogue grips are held on by these big giant torque screws versus these small ones that more than likely we strip out all the time. So I do like these oversized ones. I'm going to see if they back out or have any issues getting loose or anything like that. The Magwell is at a pretty good spot. I maybe have to just reach a little bit. It's not super natural, but I don't have to come off grip, so I do like where it's at. And I like that they already kind of have it textured, and they kind of have these indentions here where it's kind of broken down, maybe for your finger there a little bit, where it's not going to push your thumb up some. It kind of goes in a little bit so you can get closer to that release button there. It is you're able to swap it around, as you can see. Controls on both sides, obviously. You get the thumb safeties, of course. Very thin, not super wide. I'm not sure what accessories are going to be available, but I have pretty big thumb and it's pretty easy to catch that. Very audible click. If I just kind of press it, you got to kind of put a little bit of force. You can't just kind of tap it and it's not going to just go off. So it's, I don't want to say super stiff, but it's good enough. And it's just enough wall there to, like I said, to go ahead and ride that thumb safety, right? That's the number one way to hold this 2011, right? You got to get your strong hand over that thumb safety back there. Naturally, I just feel like there was something here, maybe just some cuts or something. I'm not sure, but we'll see how if it affects anything shooting. I don't think so. You're not really supposed to put pressure there anyway. I just like to feel something there, so not sure, just something to keep an eye out. Comes with the Magwell, and not sure if it's any other aftermarket. I didn't see them advertise it, so I do believe this is their own. There's no other Magwell or thinner or carry version or anything like that. Not a super giant one, but it's got a good sized funnel to it. So, I mean, out of the gate for competition, I think it's ready to go. I don't think I'll need to get any other kind of funnel on here. And before we get to the trigger and all that, let's talk about these magazines. That's the part that I'm excited about now that they're trying to ban P320s everywhere. So this ships with two 21 rounders and one 23 rounder. So this is a new design for them. Looks a little funky, I ain't gonna lie. It looks crazy, like 2-3 pieces added together. It looks like it's their 21 rounder. Let's take a look. It looks like it may be their standard 21 rounder with some kind of new base pad, big old thing up here, because it looks like it's the same length. I can't tell if this goes all the way down like the 21, I'm assuming, since the rounds are gonna be down there. So not sure, maybe when I get this open later on, I can probably be able to tell. It's like there's some sort of locking mechanism here and push this. I'm not sure, something new, but 23 rounds out of the gate. I like that. Let's see if it's going to fit our gauge for competition. I would assume so. So fits perfect in the 141, of course, for this new 23 round magazine that they have, which could be, I don't know how much they have these available for. I almost said the S word. I know YouTube gets a little crazy, so I'm not sure if that's a viable option versus like an MBX or, you know, 21 round Springer Precision or Taylor Freelance or whatever your preferred mag extension company is. So that's going to be something to look out for as far as you know, cha-ching wise. So it does come with the 221s, very easy. So I don't think I'm going to need to get any other Magwell, which I appreciate that, especially for competition. I'm constantly having to buy extra mag release extensions and Magwells and mags and this and that, which again, this is why I really like this pistol. Here is 17 rounds with my +3 or 4 Springer Precision. Works just fine. Should be no lockback, but goes right in. Let's take a look at some other mag extensions I have. So I got 3 other mag extensions. We have the 21 rounders with the +1 Henning. That should work since there's not a huge base pad. We knew that was gonna work. And those have lockback, I like that. You got the 17 rounders with the +3 or 4 or 4 or 5 Henning. Those work perfect, no lockback. And then we have the Terran Tactical, work just fine as well. So, and I'll test these running these and give you all my final thoughts, make sure they actually run. But out of the gate, I already like that I can use all my mags, mag extensions from my SXG with this. I do not need to pick up anything else. And I'll run these and make sure that they actually run and function just fine. Shouldn't have a problem with that. But man, real smooth. And I like their Magwell because you can kind of go in even at a little bit of an angle. I'm just gonna kind of cock it a little bit to the side, and it like funnels it for you. See what I'm saying? It just turns it. So I really like that. Like, I'm trying to force it. It's not me turning last minute. So it works. It just funnels right in there. I do like that. Perfect. And I don't care if I'm gonna beat this up. I'm running this in competition, so it's gonna get beat up after a week or two, a couple matches. So that's my favorite part, is that I'm able to use that. All the different P320 mag extensions are gonna fit with this with absolutely no problem. So I am loving that. Of course, all your controls, I already talked about your mag release, your safety. You got your slide stop here. Looks like a little different. Maybe somebody can fill it out. Again, I'm not a huge 2011 guy. I just started getting some, but I don't think I've seen any with this extra piece back here, and I wonder if that's what that little punch is. So maybe these come off a little differently. I see the same notches in 2011, so I don't know. I'll take a look at that, but it looks like it may be the same way. Let's take a look at that trigger pull. So there's the little pre-travel there, not much. There's a little bit of little sponginess there, like very little there, and then it goes off. I will say it's probably about 3 pounds. They say it's 3.5 to 4, and let's take a look at that reset. very short reset. It is I don't want to say it's a hard wall, but shooting, you know, Atlas or even the Bull Armory 2011s, those are super light. This does feel, man, short. This does feel a little harder than that, but not to where it's like, oh, what a horrible trigger. I actually prefer a little bit heavier trigger. Those sub 2 pounds, you know, I'm starting to find out I really don't like it. And it could just be my heavy ass fat tactical hands, but they say 3.5 to 4 pound trigger pulls out of the box. Let's take a look. So let's see. So 3.92, 211.4, 255. Let's see if I slow down a little bit. I know this gauge is known depending on how slow or hard you pull. 211, it's actually, yeah, it doesn't feel like a 4 pounder for sure, because they say 3.5 to 4. Let's go a little bit slower. Now I'm getting to 3.8s. So the gauge could be a little off. I may have to switch it. I heard these, depending how slow, how fast you go, they may their little reliability is off. 3.2, average of 3.5, which is what they say. And like I said, you feel the wall, but I can imagine just shooting competition. Again, I've made these comments before. Shooting quickly, it's not that hard where it's gonna affect your trigger squeeze. I like it, and the reset is nice for a Sig. Nice. I can't wait to get this to the range, so let's get it out. I haven't made up my mind yet if we're going indoor, outdoor, or something, but I can't wait to get this out there and run it, and let's see how good she is. All right, so we're out here to run the P211 GTO for the first time. Excuse my gear, but it is hot out here in Texas. So I got my nice little, I don't even know what kind of a little straw hat thing going on. All right, so we're at about 7 yards. We're gonna run the first mag. So this is the 23 rounder. It does fit all 23 rounds. That 23rd one was a little stiff, but it went in. And there we go. So just got to get a good slap to get that a seat. But it loads just fine. All right, we're shooting 124 grain. So first one, some issues there. Usually that may be the case with new pistols, I found out, so we're gonna keep on running it. I think on my Sig S6G, I think I had problems with the first magazine, so we're gonna keep on going. Very soft, very soft. Of course, out here in the daytime, I'll flinch there. Very easy to pick up that fiber out there. I've already punched a hole in the center. So we had that one malfunction at the very beginning. After that, the other 22 rounds were just fine. But super soft shooter, that compensator and the weight definitely helps. All right, so now we're gonna start our 5-round groups. We're at about 10 yards, and then we'll push it back to about 15. Just doing 5 rounds, and I'm also testing the Springer Precision extension that I had on the S6G, see if it functions properly, since they, you know, these can take 320 mags. So let's take a look. There we go. All right, so that's 5 rounds at about 10 yards. Let's pull it back some, and then we'll take a look at the results in a minute. Didn't eject all the way, but that was the last round. All right, so we pushed it back to about 20 yards. Now we're gonna try the Henning extension. We're at about 20 yards. Let's see how that goes. There we go. This is where my vision gets a little jacked up, 15 plus. So we're gonna try it. That was 5. We'll try one more just in case. All right, so let's take a look at our hits. First shots with the P211. So this was the first mag at about 7 yards, way smaller than my hand, as you can see. And then we went to 10 yards, nice little decent group there. And then I think we pushed it out to about 15, pull 1. This is where my vision gets a little shaky. And then we went to about 17, 18, maybe 19 yards. I don't have a measuring out here, just took some paces back. And then we went 20 yards plus. This, I know one, I kind of lost vision. I'm assuming it's that one. Everything else was pretty close. But very accurate and soft shooting pistol. I will say that. It is very, very soft. So now we're just gonna run a gun on some IPSC or USPSA targets, the clamshells. One's at about 7 yards, the other one's probably about 10, 12 yards. Not necessarily going for super accuracy. I don't have the best vision, so I don't have a red dot on it. But I'm just gonna try to run some pairs and let's just see how it shoots. No malfunctions, nice clean run. I think everything alpha, maybe this one here, Charlie. They should be that nice and tight as slow as I was going, right? And then transitioning to the left, just like I was going off before my vision was set. So 2 in the Charlie and 1 inside. So I can't imagine with the red dot and trying to run faster because I can't pick up irons that fast. Should be a viable option. We're just gonna keep running the gun. So right now we got 1 Charlie and 2. I'll tape up my Charlie so we can see what else stays in the alphas. But so far it's running great. I'm out in the sun, so I had to take my thumb off completely because this fucking shit is hot as hell out here. It's probably about 100 degrees. So for the sake of trying to speed up so I don't burn my hand, I shot a little bit faster without looking at the second sight picture. That gun stays pretty flat. Everything was in here. Picked up 1 more Charlie there. And then I know I dipped 1 when I was burning my damn thumb. That's probably when I took it off. I don't know. Alpha, Charlie, you guys tell me. But everything else, A-zone. And that's me not really shooting irons very well. I just kind of got that first sight picture and was just letting them rip. Of course, I'm standing still. There's not a lot of movement to it, but I'm just running the gun, see how it feels. And I will say the gun is super soft. Kind of like that other brand. And my Bull Armory Blaze, those high-end 2011s where it's like you barely feel it. I can't wait to see the footage on that recoil slow-mo, see how far up it's actually going with muzzle rise or not going up. But it's a super soft shooter. Like, I can't wait to use it. I hate that I don't have the sight block, but maybe the compensators was making it that much of a difference, which we know the compensators are supposed to help. But considering I'm not a top shooter, I'm not worried about what division I'm in, so I may just run it with the compensator. But so far, I think we're close to about 100 rounds. It's running. I think we've had 2 or 3 malfunctions. One was in the first magazine, then a stovepipe on the last round. So it could just be working the kinks out. But out of, I think, close to 100 rounds, we only had those 3 malfunctions. Not like some other guns that are like 36% out of 80 rounds. The first 80 almost, like, come on, man. So far, I'm loving it. All right, guys, final thoughts on the brand new Sig 211 GTO. We are empty. I gotta say, super soft shooter. I know that compensator helps, but I've shot pistols with some of these smaller compensators and it doesn't do what this gun is doing. It is very soft, shoots like butter, not a lot of muzzle rise. You see the slow motion recoil there. I'm able to track this thing, and even with irons, I was able to get that second shot without even looking at the return, just kind of testing out, just, you know, predictable shooting or predictive shooting. and it was tracking just alpha zone on its own. Only bad part is the sight block is not available, right? I already talked about that. Hopefully it's available quick, because I would love to run this in limited optics. I'm just gonna need an optics for it, and then I'll run it in a couple matches. I'll run it open just to get practice with it, but we're gonna mount this guy on that, since it's the Delta Point Pro, or that Sig lock, whatever their footprint they're calling, but I'm gonna go with the Delta Point Pro. Never had a Vortex, so drop some comments down below for that. Let me know if I'm gonna run into some issues or some common problems that I need to know about. But other plus size is that now that my P320 SXG is banned almost everywhere locally, I can run all my P320 mags in this, which you saw in the video. I ran everything. This is a great pistol. I just can't wait to throw the sight block on here, mount the optic, and try to run this in limited optics along with my Bow Armory Blaze. I think these two are going to be my go-to, and then figure out what's going on with the Athena. But 2 thumbs up for me on this one. No issues with the first mag. I think I had 1 or 2 malfunctions and then 1 stovepipe somewhere, but I ran almost 200 rounds, and then a buddy of mine checked it out today out of curiosity as well, and I think he ran a mag or 2, maybe 3 mags in there. No issues whatsoever that they told me about. So 2 thumbs up, and I can't wait to run this in competition and get some further videos on this one. But if you got questions, reach out to me on Instagram. I can communicate there a little faster, fat_tactical. And yeah, drop some comments and some feedback below. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.